This is the story of why I had to get my butthole removed. Yeah. The story begins when I was 18 years old in the middle of COVID. I started getting some really weird fucking symptoms. Started losing a significant amount of weight. I was 6 feet tall, weighing almost 100 pounds. I was looking in the toilet bowl to see only red. Literally someone hemorrhaged in there. There was quite a bit of blood and it was coming out of my butthole. On top of all that though, I remember describing to my family doctor and to everyone that was taking a look at my butthole that it felt like there was something in it. I couldn't pinpoint exactly where, but it literally felt like I was holding on to a golf ball in my butthole. My family doctor said that I was fine and that this was probably just a case of like really bad hemorrhoids, so he prescribed me some cream, told me to apply that twice daily, and I did that for a couple weeks, only to feel worser and weaker, and I was in need to get with that at this point. Like I was quite literally suffering. One day I had the genius idea of searching up what my symptoms might be or what kind of illness I had, and my family doctor or the walk-in clinic doctor was and so I took it to Google, and Google literally said immediately, perianal Crohn's. I was like, it's probably not that though, it's probably not that, it's probably just like anal fissures or hemorrhoids or, you know, a really bad case of constipation, I don't fucking know, but it literally cannot be Crohn's. So, that same very day that I read that, I said to my mom, listen, things aren't looking good, I'm not feeling good, my intuition is telling me that there is something way worse than hemorrhoids going on inside my butthole, and I think I need to go to the hospital. And that was that. I went to the hospital, my first ER trip through this whole ordeal. The doctor looked at me and said, you have hemorrhoids. And I said, you have hemorrhoids in my butthole. And he said, turn over. I did. Next thing I know, his finger was up my ass. And he said, yeah, just put them back inside you. And I walked out of there like a wounded fucking soldier, gripping onto my butthole for dear life, sobbing my eyes out, wondering what this man had just done and how in the hell did he put my hemorrhoids back up inside me. I remember texting my family group chat being like, oh good guys, hemorrhoids are back in place. I'm gonna be good to go tomorrow. Boy oh boy, was I wrong. That ER doctor maybe was a little bit negligent by doing that without first figuring out what was inside my butthole. Yes, but he did have the brilliant idea of referring me to a colonoscopy clinic to just see what could be going on, you know, some further investigation. And so once again, I spent the next couple weeks at home, absolutely bedridden. At this point, I don't think I was eating like one full meal a day. Like, my appetite was gone. My energy levels were non-existent. I was basically just waiting and hoping that I would get a call from my family doctor for further testing or something like that. But my mom, my literal lifesaver, called up the colonoscopy clinic that ER doctor had referred me to and was like, hey, my daughter is really fucking unwell. And she said, are there any insertions by any chance this week? And they called her immediately back and said, yes, you have one on Monday, bring her in first thing. So I legitimately did this colonoscopy prep and I was quite literally dying. Nobody believed me. Everybody thought that I was being so fucking dramatic because the peglet was ripping apart my asshole, but I was literally on the toilet on the verge of fainting, and at one point I did in fact black out. So my mom called the ambulance, they took my vitals. I'm pretty sure, my memory's so foggy, but I think I did go into the ER. This is like, I was so delirious, but they did in fact take me to the hospital, and then they saw my chart, they did some blood work. They said that I was all fine and sent me home and said to come back for the colonoscopy that following morning. Well, colonoscopy came around at 8 a.m. When I tell you that I was in that chair, sobbing, hyperventilating, could not breathe for my life, I rushed into that room to find out that I had a fever of 41 degrees. Okay, there was something going on inside me. Nobody fucking listened until this doctor looked at me, this GI that I was just meeting for the first time, and said, Holly, you don't have hemorrhoids, Holly, you have Crohn's. And I said, you haven't even looked inside of me. Like, why are people giving me diagnoses without looking inside of me? He said, your profile, it's everywhere, okay? You have a fever, you have pain in your rectum, blood in your stool, it's Crohn's. So next thing you know, I woke up in the scope room and they were saying, yep, severe Crohn's disease, you actually have a severe infection in your butthole, we need to admit you right away for surgery. So this was me, little 18-year-old me, being told that I needed surgery for the first time in my life. And they were whisking me away from my family, away from my mother, to this ward up on the freaking 17th floor that I had never been to, and next thing I knew, I was preparing for surgery. When I awoke from the surgery, they told me, not only did you have an infection in your butthole, but it was an abscess the size of a baseball. This pocket of puss was lodged in my butthole. And so they drained it. I woke up feeling great, once again texting my family group chat saying, guys, good to go. Literally pick me up in about 30 minutes, I'll pack up. To my parents' surprise, when they arrived, I was not, in fact, doing well. I was, in fact, way worse. I was, again, crawling on the floor, could not walk, was shivering and sweating, and just was literally so physically unwell that they were like, something's not right with her. To the nurses, they said, we can't take her home, and they said, I'm sorry, she's already discharged, I don't know what to tell you. So they drove me home, legitimately 30 minutes after that I stepped foot through my door, I fainted again. Fever spiked to 41 degrees. So there I was, back again in the hospital. And to summarize for you guys, that was the beginning of about a 1 year in and out hospital stay. I spent about like one night here and there at home, another night here and there at home, but the majority of the time I was in fact in the hospital, and I was recovering from surgery after surgery. The reason that I kept on having to have these surgeries was because, well, turns out that I actually had tunnels going from my butthole to this pocket, that baseball that I said, that pocket of abscess, so that every time I would go to virtue to my butt, the bacteria would go through these tunnels, collect in that pocket, the infection would form again, and then I would go septic. They were trying everything that they could. They tried Ceton bands, they tried EUAs, they tried to drain them, nothing was working. I was just getting worse. One night during those hospital stays, I was quite literally dying. Like, that's when I registered in my brain, okay, this could be it for me. It most definitely will be it for me if no one fucking helps me. And then my surgeon, who had been off all weekend in the middle of my sepsis episode, came into my room and said, Paula, I am so sorry. We have tried everything that we can possibly do to avoid you getting to this point, but we do have to give you an ostomy bag. That was the end. That was the end for me. I thought that if this disease didn't kill me, I would definitely kill myself. So what happened next? I got the ostomy bag. I wanted to live, like, really, really fucking badly, and I wanted to live outside of the hospital and have a life of my own and gain back my independence and be healthy once again, a normal teenage girl, but at the expense of my own mental health, obviously, because dealing with an ostomy was difficult. I dealt with a lot. The next year of my life looked pretty much the same. Even though I had my ostomy, I was doing better, but I was also doing worse. I tried every single biologic that there is for Crohn's disease, which is basically medication to suppress your immune system so that it doesn't attack itself like mine did. And none of them worked. Fast forward to February of 2022, I ended up back in the hospital. They rediscovered more fistulas and more abscesses, and then my doctors came in to deliver the very sad news that I would have to part ways with my butthole because my options were done. I made the decision to go ahead with the surgery, and I lost my colon, my rectum, and I no longer have a hole. Sad, but I gained back my whole entire life. Those that have been very close to me in this journey, that have seen me go from my literal deathbed to the highest peak of the mountain now, have noticed how huge this improvement has been. The reason that I share this story isn't for attention or for sympathy. It's for awareness, because if you begin to see any of these symptoms start in your body, I want you to do yourself a favor and call your family doctor, or any doctor for that matter, and immediately request a colonoscopy. Advocate for yourself, and don't let something like this get to the point of no return. The reason that I lost my butthole is because of Crohn's disease, yes, but it's also because of a lot of negligent doctors that didn't listen to me when I was clearly expressing that something was wrong. So there you go. That is the story of how I lost my butthole.